What a piece of junk!
This is the Shattered Order podcast.
Go switch off!
If you're looking for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes news, information, and theory crafting, you've found the podcast you're looking for. With your hosts, GoodNightPunk and WinKILLERinc.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 145th episode of the Shattered Order podcast. I'm your host, GoodNightPunk, and with me, as always, is my good friend Wink. What's going on, Wink?
Hello there. I figured I would go with a little bit of a reworked response to your typical intro.
Very nice, very nice.
See what I did there? Yeah.
I did see that.
So, I want people's opinion. Let me know in Discord and everything what you guys thought of the podcast last week, because that was one of the biggest requests we got in that feedback survey that we did. Was people wanted to hear or wanted the sound boosted a little bit. So I think I found a way to boost the sound and get it to sound pretty good. So you guys let me know what you thought. If that was good or too loud or whatever.
Here's a little preview. Wake! Hey! My voice is now boosted. Pretty great, huh?
Yeah!
Like it? No, that's not what you meant?
No.
You
Almost.
know, I moved away from the mic, hopefully not to blow everyone's ears out, but might have anyway.
Yeah. Well, no. That's how it goes.
Well. They don't need ears to listen to the podcast.
So this, I don't think this will be the last week. I think next week will be the final week here in this lovely room. I'll be honest. I don't know how echoey stuff's going to be here in a couple weeks.
No.
I'm going to figure something out. It's going to be a little sketchy, but you know, I'm excited to get moved, but I'm wondering if you're excited about the draft.
I am. Hopefully you're not moving during the draft, but I can say this, that I am super stoked for this because I have no idea. I live in Arizona and still have no idea what the Cardinals are going to do with the number one pick. Like, I was almost convinced it was going to be Kyler Murray, and then I was unconvinced of that with all the schedule dropping in and Steve Keim talking about Josh Rose. I don't know, man. It's been completely crazy. So you seem to be celebrating something over there.
No, I was looking for something somewhat related to this.
Oh.
Don't have it set up. Let's see if I can find it. I have something that I think I could play that really will tell you how I feel about this topic.
Oh, I know what it's going to be.
Yeah, the problem is I cannot find it on the sound. I have.
I think it's a marching band.
It is. It would. I can't find it. Oh well. Boomer sooner. Let's go, Kyler.
I would actually be really excited for that, to be honest, because
back-to-back years
with the number
one overall pick
that would be interesting
quarterback
for sure.
Would be amazing.
So I thought it would be fun to do this. Let's do a quick Star Wars draft, top 3 picks, go back and forth.
Ooh.
Can't pick the same one, and I'll even let you have the number 1 pick.
Is this SWGOH or just characters?
Characters in Star Wars.
Yoda.
Star Wars lore. I knew that was coming. Then mine is obviously General Kenobi.
I figured it would be. So naturally, next I would have to go Darth Vader.
Darth Vader. You see, now you start getting into the.
Well,
I don't really know
wait.
who I'm gonna pick.
Are we doing the snake style or alternating?
Alternating, just like the real draft.
Okay.
So you got Vader and Yoda. I'll take Han Solo with my second pick.
Oh dang, that's a good one. That is a really good one. So I guess you know what? I'm gonna go a little bit different because I kind of think as much as the movie wasn't that great, like the natural selection here would be Luke, but I'm gonna switch things up, and I'm actually gonna go Qui-Gon. I kind of think he's an underrated Jedi in the movies.
I really thought you were gonna say Rose as a joke. You're like, I really didn't like the movie, but
Nice.
I was like, oh god, here we go. He's gonna pick her just because he's got the Zeta. To answer chat, Luke is definitely not one of my top 3 picks. As I like him, but he's not one of my favorite characters. So, regardless of him being the main character of the movies and Mark Hamill being amazing, not my third pick. My third pick is actually, let's see, hard to pick because there's 2 people that I would really like to pick here. But I think I'm gonna have to make the duo complete and pick Chewbacca because Chewbacca is definitely one of my favorite characters.
That's a good one.
So
That is such a good one.
General Kenobi, Han Solo, and Chewbacca. Those are my 3.
That's pretty good. And I'm going with Yoda, Vader, and Qui-Gon.
I like Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon was a cool character.
Yep.
But he got the old Ben treatment from the original trilogy where it's like, he's gone in the first movie.
Plus, I mean, it's Liam Neeson. Like, has he ever not been a badass in a movie? I mean, hard to go wrong.
Yeah, for sure. Honorable mentions. Well, I'll just say Luke. So that's a thing that's out there. But I also
R2D2.
R2D2. Anakin even. I know people hate the prequels, but Anakin was...
Dude, episode 3 is really good.
Episode 3...
That is a good movie.
The fight between Kenobi and Anakin is my favorite part of Star Wars.
It's really good.
Fighting on Mustafar. I think it's Mustafar. But yeah, that fight. I could watch that fight forever, especially the ending. The acting between Ewan McGregor. It's awesome. Yeah. So, anyways, I thought that would be fun to throw that out there. But we got some other... I think we have a few things. We might have a few things to talk about this week. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey guys, what did you do in SWGOH this week?
Well, we'll start off with a big, huge, frowny, sad face with the streaming tears and puddles of water because I did not get Darth Malak. I wasn't, willing to spend what I would have had to get him. All that gearing I discussed that I did last week really ended up biting me. Had I not done that, I would have got him for sure. So
we do a gearing episode on what's easy to gear right before you need to gear 2 characters that aren't even on the list.
Oh,
sorry,
I know,
everyone.
It's awful.
If anyone's in Wink's boat, apologies.
Yeah, it was rough, but so I got some really cool characters geared, and I have 4 Zetas sitting around. Have or had, however you want to look at it. So this week I also finished Sith Marauder, so I'm working on Aura Singh. She's the only character I've got left. I got 112 shards to go, and then Cantina Farms is all we call it shard shop currency. But
I don't know how I got so far ahead of you on that, to be honest. It's crazy.
I almost never do Cantina refreshes.
You know how I got ahead of you because mods used to be Cantina Energy. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I've been farming Kylo Ren and his ship for like a month and a half.
I'm freaking jealous. I've been very tempted to start doing container refreshes just to speed up the process, just because I'm ready to get it done and be out of the way with it because it's annoying. So I gear 11'd Ahsoka Tano, as we will discuss later. I also threw that new Zeta on her, which I will talk about later. The other thing, Grand Arena. I won this last Grand Arena, but I took my RJT team. It was RJT, Rose, BB-8, Blue Hair, and the other chick from Episode 8. And I took them in against First Order team and just kind of, honestly, got kind of smashed. I took some characters out, but after reevaluating, I realized First Order Stormtrooper is awfully good. I hadn't realized how good he is on that team, and I knew he was good. I can't underestimate it, and I've got so much invested in my First Order team. I've decided to go ahead and gear First Order Stormtrooper. I'm working on getting him up. He should be gear 11 tomorrow. And then I'll probably Zeta him, because his Zeta has, he has like the 65% chance to counter. That's not Zeta, but his Zeta, anytime he uses an ability, he has a 50% chance to call in a First Order ally. And if you're hitting him, he's countering and calling in like First Order TIE Pilot or First Order Executioner, Crew, whatever. My goodness, that can be a lot of damage. So I'm going to set that up to really optimize my Crew team, because as a team I love using on defense in Grand Arena. I think this is going to be a much better investment for Grand Arena than just continuing to use First Order Officer or gearing him up further, just because he's so easy to take out. I think this will be a much, much better solution.
So what's your 5 then?
So it'll be Crew, Kylo, First Order Executioner, First Order TIE Pilot, and Stormtrooper.
Why don't you want to use Officer?
Because I think Stormtrooper is just a lot better. He has the extra chances.
No, I meant instead of TIE Fighter Pilot. Most people take TIE Fighter Pilot out and put Officer in.
I am going to drop Officer, actually.
Well, I'm just saying, if you decide you want options, Officer is one of the easiest people to gear in the game. So
I've got him at gear 11, and that's what I currently use.
No.
But
he's actually who's currently sitting waiting for gear if I wasn't giving it to someone else.
Interesting.
At the moment. So I've almost got Officer to gear 12.
He's good, but I think I like First Order Stormtrooper just a little bit better because of those chances to call in, especially when you're talking about First Order Executioner and First Order TIE Fighter Pilot. That is a lot of damage you can do that's, kind of unexpected, that can pretty easily help take out, health and protection, and really mitigate the amount of points that the other team gets, even if they're using an RJT team, which is the obvious counter to that team. So that's my plan for the next week. The other thing was I rebuilt my arena team 7,382,583 different times this week because I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea what to do with my bloody arena team. I've settled back on Darth Revan with HK, Bastila, Sith Trooper, a Yawn, and Darth Nihilus.
You mean Yanni?
And Yanni.
Good old Yanni.
It's a really good team. I love it. I love Darth Nihilus on that team. I focused a little bit more on speeding up Bastila Shan because her being fast is much more important than Darth Revan being fast. I leave my Darth Revan fast just because there's only a couple Darth Revans that can be faster than mine, but my Bastila Shan I think is probably the fastest in my arena. I have some really good speed mods, as you may know. That's called a segue, because I mean, I hit. There it is.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that's
Dude.
the excitement horn. Woo!
Super stoked. This
Dude.
actually, I'm kind of jealous here.
You should be. So I was looking in the mod store, 3.9 million credits, crit damage set, diamond. I was like, I guess. I mean, we'll see what happens. Even though I only had 6 million credits, it basically broke me. I was like, there's no way this is going to be worth it. Oh boy, was I wrong. 23 secondary speed. This was a great mod because it had offense and crit chance as the other secondaries. So there wasn't a huge way for me to get screwed with this mod. And that's
Yeah.
kind of that's kind of the way my strategy's changed with mods is I want 2 to 3 secondaries that I love on that mod before I buy it. This mod fell under that category. It ended up being okay.
I just bought a mod because I've been jealous, and I'm going to see if it does anything.
Ooh.
Live. Here
This
we
should be
go. So
exciting.
it's a
All right,
defense.
all right.
It's a diamond potency with potency, protection, and speed as the secondaries. So it's a purple. We'll see what happens.
All right.
Protection hit 3 times, potency once, speed didn't even change. So that's how pretty much why I get jealous, because that happens every time for me. But it does have
Interesting.
4 speed, so pretty stoked about that. Anyways, continue.
Well, that's pretty much it for me. So why don't you tell me what you did in SWGOH?
All right, so if you were around last Saturday night, I think it was, you would have known that I live streamed the Starforge event for Malak. On Friday, I'd finished the Dark Side version because I had all those guys geared up from the Darth Revan event. But the light side, I didn't have them geared up, so I started working on gearing them up. I actually dropped a little bit of money on there. Actually, not even that much. I think it was like 2 of the $20 crystal packs or boxes, whatever you call them. So about $40, and I got them. I got Mission and Zalbar to gear 11 with no extra pieces on there, and then I Zeta'd both of them to get them up over that 17,500 mark. And then I was able to go into the event, and I literally spent, let's say, all 12 hours on that freaking event. Literally all freaking day fighting that thing. Like,
Holy crap.
sitting on the couch, my kids playing outside, watching TV, making lunch with a game going on I sat there and tried to beat this thing all freaking day. And finally I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a live stream, see if people have any other tips and tricks that I don't know about yet that they can share in the live chat, and just see where we go. And I went on for about an hour and 15 minutes on the light side before I was able to control the stacks on Malak and start whomping on him, and ended up beating him. So I did unlock Malak.
Heck yeah.
And
Very
I was pretty
nice.
stoked about that. And over the past week, which reminds me now, I got more shards to buy. But over the past week, I've got him to 35 out of 100. And I have all the currency to get him to 7 stars. So I'll be getting him to 7 star in the next 2 to 3 days. And that'll pretty much drain my guild event currency, which I'm sure was the point. But Malak is proving that he's worth the investment, and if he's not, they will make him. So I'm gonna keep farming his shards.
Fair.
So
Fair.
there you go.
Yeah.
But
That's understandable.
yeah, so I beat the event. I got Malak, and I've been gearing him all week. And by gearing him, I mean I've been farming the new gear piece all week, because it took me maybe a day and a half to get up to gear 8, and then that new piece hit. And I have been farming those 50 salvage, so 100 salvage total, for days now. I'm to the point now where I only need about 25 more, so I'm like contemplating spending my arena crystals to buy the other 700, or buy the $700 worth $700. 700 crystals worth to get 25 to finish Gear 9 to Gear 9 and then keep going because the next one you have is in Gear 11. So I'd probably be able to get him up to Gear 11 fairly quickly. So,
Nice.
yeah, that's where I'm at. But I've been stuck on freaking Gear 8 for a week, so I haven't really used him. I put him in my arena team a day or so ago once he got a new magic update that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But yeah, I'm still gearing him. I also Zeta'd. I finally got another Zeta because Mission and Zalbar stole my last 2 Zetas. I was down to nothing. Zeta poor for the first time in like a year and a half. I had none. Going from a month and a half ago having 7 of them, I'm now down to 0. So
Holy
I got
crap.
20. I spin it. I got the Gnawing Terror one, thinking
Okay.
it was the better of the 2. Gnawing Terror is the one that adds at the end of each turn, enemies who inflict damage over time on Darth Malak or critically hit him this turn are inflicted with fear for 1 turn, which can't be resisted or evaded. So basically, if you crit
That's
him,
a good Zeta.
you get fear. So once it
That
gets
is
to
a
Gear
great
11, that'll
Zeta.
be a lot better off than it is now, because right now, if you crit him, there's a good chance he's either red or dead. So, but they'll still be feared. You'll get 1 out of it, but right now it's not doing too hot because of the gear level issue. But I definitely think that was the best one out of the 2. And so that's what I've been doing all week, pretty much. Is I did the event, and now I've been working on him, and that's pretty much it. Normal farm and stuff, TB, Grand Arena, which kind of sucked this week. I haven't been number 1 for probably the last 3 or 4, and I could have got it this time, except I got stuck on a team, and it took me 2 attacks instead of 1, whereas he was able to. I got him on 2 attacks on a team, but he must have cleared it with more protection or something, because I think I lost by 15, even though I cleared his team.
Ouch.
So I went 2
That
and 1
sucks.
in Grand Arena, but I'm okay with it. So
Yeah. I gotta give you credit because you were on board with this team early, but the Murder Bears, they tend to generally, not every time, but oftentimes, they are kind of my superstar in Grand Arena. I don't know how many times I'll go in and there'll be 1 battle done, but there's no protection or anything gone from them. And I've been running my Wicked at 280 with 80% crit chance. So, I mean, unless you really pay attention or go in knowing how freaking fast he is, good luck. Because once they start going, I mean, it's just kind of an endless loop of death. But I am working on his final Gear 12 Plus piece, and I remodded him. My goal is to get Wicket to 297. I'd like to bump him up to 300. That'll be my goal, because, I mean, that would be... I mean, Troopers are the general counter to that team. You'd have to have a pretty fast start. I don't feel like... I don't think most people will invest that much speed in Stark to take out Murder Bears. So I think that's going to be my strategy there going forward.
I don't have Range Trooper yet. I'm farming him now. He's at 6-star.
He's awesome.
Or he's at 5-star. I've almost got that 6-star. I know that will supercharge my troopers, but a lot of them are also Gear 12. Some are Gear 11. So they're not geared greatly. But whenever I hear someone say Imperial Troopers are the counter, I think to myself, my troopers can't shoot a fly off the wall, so good luck to everyone else. I'm sure you can do it. Mine do not. So, yeah. If they put Murder Bears out there, I'm already looking at, like, do I still have my CLS? Do I still have anything that's... I have to waste, big things on these guys. So I almost always set my bears on defense, and I can count on one hand the amount of times they don't get 2 defenses, because people just underestimate them. And mine are all Gear 12 with all the Zetas. So mine are built for defense, and it shows. So I love that team so much.
I only have Wicket and Sherpa at Gear 12, but they both have a Gear 12 Plus piece on them, and they are both modded quite well. I mean, my Sherpa... hits like a freight train and wickets, fast and crits basically every attack. So, yeah. He is.
And
awesome.
I don't know if I remember if you Zetaed him or not, but those crits all the heals and stuff.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Critting for the heals. I gotta love it. Especially the AoE he does all the time. It's great.
I can't remember who it was, talking with somebody that mentioned how much they like using the bears on offense, but I've never had great success with getting them all to finish at 100% health and protection, even with the Zeta on Wicked. It's, just a couple attacks. They're so good at mass attacking, but there's just not really enough fast recovery to really get them back up there. And, for that reason, and because the AoE and just how fast they do damage, they're a defensive team for me.
Makes sense. Yeah, last T-dub, I didn't put them on defense for the first time in a long time, and I actually used them on offense. And I don't remember using them on offense, and offense, they're great at that too. It looked from the outset like I was just gonna get rolled, and then the turn meter train started going, and despite the damage, once you start getting Wicket throwing out his damage along with pulling in Chirpa, it gets nasty real quick.
Oh yes,
I loved it.
I
love the Ewoks. It's great.
Yep, I totally agree. All right, so next thing I kind of wanted to discuss was countering Malak in a way. This is kind of related to what I was talking about, just my arena team. And it's amazing the way Malak has forced me to really change my arena team. I've been so focused on health primary mods, and Malak directly counters that. I'm not even going to talk about the EP situation. I've obviously had to drop the EP. We'll get to that later. But as for just countering what Malak does, it is amazing the difference between just switching from a health primary to a protection primary. We've been talking so much about health primaries with the Bastila Fallen and Darth Revan. When Malak's introduced, because of that ability, it does 100% health damage. That protection becomes so much more valuable, and it's super important to survivability to obviously mitigate the amount of damage that Malak does. And that has probably been the biggest difference that I've made is, switching Darth Revan and Bastila Fallen and HK, all of them over to be a little bit more protection based. I need to do the same thing with Sith Trooper. I haven't finished modding him yet, but defense and protection for him, minimize the health as much as possible. That way, when Malak does his thing, it's not quite as damaging to my team. But that has been a total game changer as far as being able to beat the teams and survive. And that kind of, it's kind of that same thing for whether you're using a Darth Revan team or you're using a Jedi Knight Revan team. Getting that health to be basically as low as possible is a great idea, which isn't something that we, typically will say.
Not usually on the show, but
yeah,
things are evolving always. So they used to be big.
Indeed.
Now they're coming back. No one's ever really gone.
Very nice. Nice reference. So you have any thoughts on, either modding Malak or kind of modding to counter Malak?
Honestly, I haven't fought any Malaks yet. I'm still kind of figuring out this team.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm still fighting in the 10 to 30 range. I still have not figured out this team, or maybe I just don't have the speed mods, or maybe I don't have them set up, but I'm not Mirror matches are really screwing me. I mean, I have a hard time beating other Malaks right now. Or not Malaks, but other Darth Revens at the moment. So I got to do some soul searching on my arena team, but I've been focused on other things other than arena lately. So I've been content getting up into the top in the 10 to 20 range and taking that payout and not banging my head against the wall. If I were fighting out in the Outlands 50 plus, I'd probably be sweating it a lot more, but I can still get up there in the places where there's still good crystals that don't have me hating life, so I do that.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of Darth Malaks in that range, probably because they're holding well.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so we'll
that
see.
is definitely true. So the next thing I want to talk about, I was kind of hoping this would bring a little bit of controversy. I'm not sure that's going to like I initially thought, but this kind of came from Reddit and the Shattered Order Guild. We had a guildmate, and he posted this on Reddit. He was unbelievably frustrated, and I wanted to agree with my guildmate. I really did. I couldn't. I just did not see eye to eye with this whole thing. So the situation was, do what?
I'm bringing up the post on the live stream.
Oh, sweet. Perfect. All right. So here's what happened. Grand Arena round 3, final round for all the marbles. He goes in, and the enemy sets one defensive team. Sets his fleet. It is Falcon fleet, and set no other defenses. So because he set a defense, he did set a defensive strategy. It did not auto-deploy his characters because he did set something which then turned off the auto-deploy. Leaving... Broken. You think it's broken?
Continue.
Okay. So, he had no defenses of characters, so those 7 teams were empty, leaving our guildmate in a position to where he could not attack. All he could attack was the fleet. This also left his opponent with all of his offense to go through and wipe out his teams. And essentially his strategy was he has 2 good fleets. He has his Falcon and another fleet. So he was able to go beat our guildmate's fleet and wipe out all of his characters. But because our guildmate did not have a really good second fleet in order to take out the Falcon, he lost.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch. And so the thing he's so frustrated about is the fact that this is kind of against the spirit of the auto defense. The idea that
against the spirit of the mode. Everyone should have equal footing, and he did not.
That is correct. He had a huge advantage. All he had to do was take out one team, and he automatically won. There would be no possible way for his opponent to win if
except that he couldn't.
Took out
so
the
he
fleet.
should have had the chance to fight the people the same way that guy did.
Yeah, all he had to do was beat one team. It's such a risk. So
and it's such an RNG, and depending on what team you put on defense, it's such an RNG fest to whether you're going to beat ships or not. So whether he had to beat one team, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but the same thing for the other guy. He's got his Falcon on defense. He's got to use a second-rate team to go try to take out your Falcon. I mean, I think it's a pretty good strategy. It's ballsy because obviously that fleet goes down, you're screwed. But because mathematically, the way the points are, the number of points you get for setting a defense, you can't make up for with an offensive win. So his entire strategy is predicated on the fact that you will not beat his fleet. If you beat the fleet, you automatically win. That's it. Done.
If this goes into Grand Arena tournaments and is still allowed, it will be broken, and the whole thing will be. It'll be questionable whether you can say, "Oh, I'm better than that guy," or "I am." The whole idea of the mode is to say, okay, I can beat all these people, but you didn't even set a defense. That's ridiculous.
No. This is where we strongly disagree. He did set a defense.
This is where there's no disagreement here. He did not set a defense. He set one team. The idea of this is that everyone gets the same amount of chances to win. He had one chance to win against ships. That's it. Literally the only thing he had. He didn't even have a chance at the same amount of points he did. Here's a question for you, and I don't know the math on this. Did he get the points for clearing that zone that didn't have anyone in it?
Yes.
Okay. So this guy cleared him and only beat him by 20 points.
Okay.
If he had set people in those spots the way that it should be, he would have beat him easily.
Maybe, maybe not.
There's no maybe about it. He had his entire roster besides his defense ready to go for offense like he planned. I'm pretty sure that would have been the case. Either way, this is not the way the game mode is supposed to be played.
No,
this,
I
to
disagree.
me,
This is exactly the way it's supposed to be played.
It wasn't even played. There was nothing played because there was no defense. That's not the way this thing is supposed to be played.
Disagree.
To me, this is the exact same. This is the exact same as force quitting your app to not load turn meter. Yes, it's a strategy, but it's not the way it's supposed to be played. God, imagine we disagree on this because we disagree on that. It's the same thing. This is not the way that this is supposed to be played. This is supposed to auto-deploy if you don't put things, but because he put a ship, it didn't auto-deploy. So you're working around something that's not working the way it's supposed to be. Okay, congratulations. I hope you feel good about your win. Great strategy. Right, you're a winner in the Grand Arena, and everyone you know is going to pat you on the back for your amazing plays. I mean, okay, if that's the way you want to play things, congratulations. You're a cool guy.
Strongly disagree on this. Here's the question. How do you fix it? What is your solution to fixing this?
Auto-deploy characters, even if they only deploy one ship. Or if you deploy one fleet, one set of characters in a place that requires 5, auto-deploy the other 5. That's the only way this works. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way I assumed it would have been. It's ridiculous.
If you accidentally forget to set a team, the game
your
should
team
take
should
your top 5 remaining characters and put them in a garbage team.
So the other guy took the time to make his team. The other guy took his time to set his teams, and just because you couldn't find the time, he should suffer for that because of this stupid bullcrap strategy. No, this is stupid.
It is a strategy. It is he set a defensive strategy. It's not like he didn't set a defense. He did. He set a defensive strategy.
Yes, which currently works in the game. It needs to be out of the game.
I strongly disagree. I think it should stay in the game.
No.
And
if I lose because I can't beat ships, which I don't care about, I'm going to be pissed. That's stupid.
Save your Falcon for offense. I mean...
Nope. Sorry.
Nope. All right.
Then get ships out of freaking Grand Arena then. They're worthless anyway. If this is what's going to happen with them, it's worthless. Get them out of there. This is stupid.
I think it's awesome. I think it was a great strategy. Absolutely brilliant. Although ballsy and risky as hell, because like I said, if the fleet goes down, you cannot win. He is taking it completely out of his hands and winning there. So I mean, it's risky, but
at this point, I'm glad your internet's breaking up.
Whatever. Yeah, my internet's terrible. We know. So anyway, I love the strategy. I think it's awesome. I think it should stay. I think if you set a defensive strategy, if you go through the effort of setting up a defense, it should not auto-deploy no matter what.
Yes, it should. Your team should be full every battle. There is no chance that this should be allowed to happen, ever.
The only thing I will...
This should not happen. It's ridiculous.
They were to change this, I will say this. If I think there is only one acceptable change, which I still would not like. The only way to acceptably change this is if you do set up auto-deploy defense, is not by your most powerful character, but by your least powerful characters. You set teams based on your least powerful characters going up for not setting a defense. But even that, I think, is
I can deal with that.
And totally
we can
stupid.
agree on that. That's totally fine. But there needs to be defense every time. If someone does not put something, it needs to autofill it.
Yeah, I don't agree, but I don't.
If you
know
want to
why
you want to kill
should-
this mode,
why-
continue to let this happen because all the people that don't agree with you will not want to play. I'm telling you. And I'm willing to
giving
bet
up
that
points.
percentage is way
Well,
higher than yours.
Why do you want
like
the
it?
game to give them free points? That's what it would be. If you set up auto defense in a situation like that, you are literally giving the person free points. Why would you want to do
Right.
that?
So set your frickin' defense. I mean, like, duh.
Yeah. No, all right, we do not agree on this topic. Big surprise.
Well, you knew we wouldn't, and that's why you put it in here, so you got what you wanted.
I suspected, yes. All right, let's go ahead and move on to this.
Strong with us, this update is Young Padawan.
All right, it's time to talk about the update because there was some pretty exciting stuff this week besides me learning about a really amazing new Grand Arena strategy. And they did some touch-ups to your boy and my boy, General Kenobi and Jedi Knight Anakin, and then just completely reworked Ahsoka. They are Galactic Republic. The synergy is based around Galactic Republic. What are your thoughts overall on these three reworks?
Some of them are underwhelming, some are amazing, and I don't think that this is a standalone thing. I think this is setting up something bigger, because obviously these Galactic Republic synergies don't really have a huge flow right now. But I think that they're kind of something that's been put in that's kind of foreshadowing, maybe. Because obviously Galactic Republic needs help to be a synergistic faction. But if you look at what's been added to them, you can see that there's not a... I mean, it's not enough on just these three characters to make them amazing together, you know what I mean? Now, I really like the Ahsoka rework. I think it's really cool, though some people have reported they feel like the basic damage was reduced, like almost halved by what they've seen. I don't know that that's the case because they had to change stats, but overall that kit reworks looks really good. Anakin, we'll have a nice conversation about Anakin, but his looks really good, and I can't even remember what Kenobi's really is because it's just been so inconsequential so far. Yeah. So, yeah.
So, how much have you played with these characters since the rework, and have you invested any additional gear or anything into them?
Say that again?
How much have you used these three characters since our rework? The synergy, have you invested any gear into them?
Well, I have Anakin Gear 12 because of the Jedi Knight quest. So he's already been at Gear 12. Kenobi's been Gear 12 since he had legs, and my Ahsoka is just pitiful. So I haven't put anything into her yet. Like I said, I've been putting all my gear into Malak, so right now I haven't done anything with any of them besides what they had, but I did try to play around with Anakin in Arena just for fun. It did not go well despite putting what I thought were the mods I needed to on him under Jedi Knight Revan. Did not work the way I wanted it to. So I don't know that once you figure it out, it might be more of an issue, but I don't know how big of an issue he really is. despite the fact that he can do some really cool things with his new kit. So, I don't know. I played with Anakin. He's really cool. I like the fact that he doesn't expose himself anymore. Giggle. That was always a weird thing. The risk reward in his kit, that's more like, why do I want to use a guy that's going to put expose on himself? But taking that out, making the offense automatic and not a chance. Two very big changes on him that are really, really
I
good.
have been advocating for that change for literally years at this point. I mean, within the first couple months of us starting this podcast, he was part of my theory crafting on the turn order team that I built because of his offense up, and he was amazing for it. And I got to be honest, I'm kind of tempted to rebuild that team for Grand Arena because I think it would actually work really well with him. I am super tempted.
Who's that again?
Jedi Knight Anakin.
Okay, I keep
setting
looking at chat and looking at you, and I can not do two things. So, Jedi Knight Anakin with who now?
So I'm thinking about resetting up so maybe Lando lead with Stormtrooper Han, Jedi Knight Anakin. I'm not sure if I'd be able to fit old Ben in there. I think I would. And Admiral Akbar. So set it up. Stormtrooper Han the fastest, and then set it up to where it goes in order. Old Ben to remove the turn meter, then Jedi Knight Anakin's AoE, then what's his name? Admiral Akbar, then Lando doing the back-to-back AoE with offense up. That would be, 3 extremely strong AoE attacks right in a row. The only way to stop it would basically be going before Stormtrooper Han, and I think that would be really fun. I may do that. Because I'm trying to figure out what to do with Jedi Knight Anakin. We'll talk about that in a second, I guess. But I've been messing around with these 3 characters, some in territory battles, and, a little bit just Galactic War, just a few other places and such. These 3 together are absolutely awesome. Ahsoka Tano, mine is Gear 11. I think she only has 1 piece in Gear 11. She has the Zeta, and my God, she attacks a lot. Her special, does additional damage for, it attacks once, and then if either Kenobi or Anakin is there, it attacks 2nd time. And if the other of those 2 is there, it attacks the 3rd time. So you're basically triple attacking on that special. And even with her at Gear 11, I'm getting, 35,000 on each attack. So 105,000 total damage off that special. She is just bloody nasty. It is super awesome. I cannot wait to get her to Gear 12.
You know what? I'm going to go look because I'm really curious where she falls on the gearing list.
Ooh, that's a really good question.
Because I would love to have her at Gear 12 unless she's ranked like 150. So then it would wait. But I feel like I said at the top here, that this is all moving into something bigger with all this Clone Wars stuff coming up. That it would be nice to start working on her to get her into a place where she's ready to go, if that does happen. 66th. She's ranked 66th out of 171. So
okay, that's not too bad.
Not bad. Yeah, right in the middle there.
So I've seen a lot of people, even in the live chat right now, we have a lot of people talking about how difficult she is to gear and how bad her Gear 11 is. I'll be honest. I kind of want to figure out the cost on her gear because it seems like a lot, but it's inexpensive stuff for the most part. She does require 3 of the golden eyeballs and 2 stun guns and a set of stun cuffs in Gear 11. But the golden eyeballs are relatively cheap. It's the best bargain for crystals you know, as far as buying gear, buying those and the Mark V thermals, those are the two best bargains as far as spending crystals to buy gear. And, you know, with them being such a good bargain, I mean, it is a lot of crystals to invest, but it's not really all that bad. I've seen far worse. So I don't really, you know, I'm kind of thinking about going all the way after I finish my Stormtrooper and get her ready.
So someone asked in the chat for the other ranks of the other two. Jedi Knight Anakin is 86, and
Okay.
General Kenobi is 158. So she's listed as the easiest of the three to gear out of the three.
Interesting.
Now, thinking about
Okay.
that, like you said with Gear 11, some of these rankings have people higher, and then when you get to Gear 11, they're just really hard. But you got to throw the whole picture into perspective. Like, it might take you longer to get from Gear 11 to Gear 12, but getting to that Gear 11, you know, definitely easily usable at Gear 11, whether or not it's hard to get to Gear 12. So, I'd say Kenobi. I know for sure Kenobi was super obnoxious when I geared him. Though, what does he have, like 450 Carbontes or something like that? Yeah, it's nuts. So,
But he's worth it. You have to. I mean,
well,
he's
yeah.
just- he's
I'm not
amazing.
not saying he's
So.
not. I'm just saying, think about some
No,
other
I know.
people and the gear you've thrown into them
Yeah.
over time. So.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
Well, yeah. You want to go over some of these kits that we saw? What the actual reworks were?
Yeah, we can go through those and then talk about how it affects them and kind of what we're going to do with them going forward.
That sounds good.
Who you want to talk about specifically first?
I have Kenobi up on our screen, so we can talk about the few small
Okay.
changes that he got. So.
Alrighty, let's do it.
Oh, it looked like you were hitting the soundboard for something. I was like, oh, I'll wait.
Oh no,
All right.
pulling
So
up the,
General Kenobi.
pulling his change up.
Okay, well, he had a change to his special 1, his special 2, and his unique Sorisu. So the only change to the Negotiator, if you don't know which one that is, that's the one that is the cleanse for your team that grants opposite buffs. That changed to changing the buffs to 2 turns. I think if I'm thinking critically about why that now says if any 2 turns, it must have been 1 turn before. Is that true?
That's my assumption. I planned on looking at this and it totally skipped my mind and I didn't. But
I don't know where I would
yeah,
go to look for the old kit, so I can't really tell. But I would think that it would be pushing it to last longer than less time if you're, retouching the kit. So it's now 2 turns. Whether it was 1 or 3 before, I'm not sure, but I think it was 1. So now it lasts 2 turns. All allies that were not debuffed gain retribution for 2 turns, and General Kenobi gains 60% turn meter. Again, I don't know what the original turn meter was on that. Do you?
I believe it was 40%.
Okay. I figured it was a jump,
The
but
decent
I wasn't
bump.
completely sure. So.
Yep. Not huge, but definitely noticeable. It'll make a difference as far as, him doing that and then, getting around to his next special.
Yes. So the second
Certainly
special, which everybody loves, it's the multi-attack that he calls everyone in for. Deal physical damage to target enemy and grant a random other ally offense up for 2 turns. Call all other buffed allies to assist, dealing 30% less damage. And here's the new part. Jedi Knight Anakin and Ahsoka Tano are not affected by the damage penalty. So that 30% does not drop off of their attacks, which is pretty great.
Interesting.
Once we read
Yes.
through Ahsoka's kit, you'll notice that she doesn't get the damage penalty, and she's also going to attack twice. So you're going to get double
which
turns
is
out of her.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
All right, so someone said it was 2 turns and remains 2 turns. So I guess the if any part was the part that was added. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay.
Alrighty.
Interesting.
And then we'll move on to his unique Sorisu final text. This is the one that was given a Zeta. This is the original part to it. At the end of the turn, General Kenobi has a 65% chance to gain Foresight for 2 turns. Whenever another ally is critically hit, if Kenobi is alive, they gain crit hit immunity for 1 turn, and Kenobi taunts for 1 turn. Added now. Also, he has a Zeta on this ability now. What was added to it, and this is the part that makes me think, what does this really do? If all allies are Galactic Republic, General Kenobi taunts for 1 turn whenever a Galactic Republic ally loses any protection up. Protection up. Who really does protection up on a Galactic Republic team right now?
Well, right now, Ahsoka Tano and Jedi Knight Anakin.
And that was added, correct? We'll see.
That was added, indeed.
But I mean, it seems like there's some kind of synergy to protection up being made out of Galactic Republic allies, just based on that.
Yes.
From General Kenobi. So I'm interested to see where that goes. Whether it's simply done for his synergy with Ahsoka and Jedi Knight Anakin, or it means something bigger. Because I do believe it was said. I do think when they were talking about clones in the Clone Wars in the Road Ahead, they talked about certain other Jedi also getting love throughout this that were Galactic Republic, but I can't remember if that was in the Road Ahead or on Reddit or something. So,
I have a couple theories about what they're doing here.
Oh, I love to hear them.
We'll get there in a second. Well, we'll go ahead and jump to Anakin.
All right.
So, highlighted in green, they have his basic ability with an 80% chance to inflict healing immunity and buff immunity. I think they literally just added the word immunity after healing, and I'm not sure what they changed as far as the percentage. I thought it was 80 previously. Maybe it was a bump up. I'm not for sure.
Well, they definitely had healing immunity before, but they added the buff immunity, right? Yes. Or no, it was buff immunity, and they...
No.
See, that's what's confusing here. Because he didn't... Oh, he did have both. That's right. Yeah.
They literally added the word immunity just to make it, separate it out so that it's more clear. Mm-hmm. Vos Landeck says that it was 70%. I was kind of thinking it might be that, but I wasn't for sure. But that does sound right. So basically a 10% boost in the ability to inflict those debuffs. They changed the name of his first special to Overpowering Assault. And this is one of the big changes. Deal physical damage to all enemies and grant all allies offense up and crit chance up for 2 turns. For each enemy critically hit, grant protection up 10% stacking to each Galactic Republic ally for 1 turn. This attack cannot be evaded. So, Foresight does not affect this anymore. Because before it was based on the number of critical hits translating into the percentage chance of giving offense up. Offense up and crit chance up are guaranteed now. The attack cannot be evaded, and not only that, but he gives protection up now based on the number of critical hits. So they kind of kept that, something that happens for the number of critical hits on this AoE, but they just changed it to protection up, which obviously synergizes with what we were just talking about as far as triggering General Kenobi's taunt.
Yeah, it's if you didn't see that this ability also got a new animation, and it is pretty sweet. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but
yes, it did. He has a new stance too.
Yes, he's got a lot of little things that weren't mentioned with the rework, but also came with the rework. So it's pretty cool. I love getting little things that you don't expect in these reworks. Like sometimes it's new pictures of the character, new animations, all those little things that they do. It's new stances. It's pretty cool that they added those things with this. But I think the first huge thing I saw when I read this new special was the fact that it's now not based on if he crits or not, whether he's going to expose himself, which was a huge annoying thing with him before.
Yeah, that's the other big thing.
Along with the fact that offense up isn't on a percentage chance to be granted. It's just, here's offense up now, which used to be a huge problem. Not a huge problem, but a problem with running him in Chex Mix when it was the new pretty. It's like everyone was like, okay, well, you could put Anakin in there as the offense up giver, but you're going to have infinitely more turns you're going to have to try to make this work because he doesn't give offense up every time. So if you do have him geared, and you don't have to gear Pow now because you can use Anakin. So that is one way you can get offense up for the Chex Mix now if you're still running it that way and without Chewbacca. So yeah, it's
and you don't have to worry about. You can focus, like if you're using him in Chex Mix team, you can focus on offense rather than crit chance.
Mm-hmm. You can add more to his offense than worrying about
even that much more effective.
Yes, exactly. So he's going to be even better for Chex Mix now with this change for sure. And then you add in all the extra stuff with the crit hits and protection up. Whether or not crit hit or critical chance is something you want to give him as we see more of these three working together to make that work. We'll see, but it's definitely nice that this is for sure. You're not going to expose him. I really like the change to this ability, like a lot. It's really good.
So the other big thing that has helped stir up some controversy is his unique ability, Righteous Fury. Now, whenever another ally falls below 50% health or is defeated, Anakin, instead of gaining 100% turn meter, now takes a bonus turn so that this is not affected or prevented by things like Stagger and Shock. And his next attack deals not 75% more, but 100% more damage. So he basically does double damage whenever he gets to take this bonus turn.
Yeah, it's nasty.
I love this change. It is absolutely awesome. Yeah.
He looks
the
great
bonus
right
turn
now.
Aspect of it is huge.
When I gear 12'd him
So
for the Jedi Knight quest, I was kind of upset I had to do it. I was glad I had another Jedi to use in my secondary Jedi team because he's always been decent at damage, but he's just one of those guys where if you're using him, there's a good chance you're hurting yourself if you don't have crit chance on him because he's just going to make it easier for them to kill him. But he always did good debuffs on his basic. He's always been a decent character, just not at the top of the Jedi. This definitely puts him right up there now with the way all this works together. I'm loving it. I love this. And this isn't even considered a rework. They call this a retouch. So we know he got reworked before when he got the special with the exposes and the chances for offense. But this was a retouch, and the retouch, I think, wound up working with that rework to make him what a lot of people probably expected from the last rework. So, yeah, it's pretty good.
But there is one thing missing. They retouched Kenobi, gave him a Zeta. They reworked Ahsoka, gave her a Zeta. They retouched Jedi Anakin, no Zeta. I have a theory.
Yeah? What you got?
Well, what great Galactic Republic leader ability is there that just really brings the team together? There's not one. I suspect Anakin has a leader ability change, a Zeta coming soon, and that will be the ability that ties these three together in addition to
Jar Jar.
a lot of these other Jedi, maybe
Oh.
Jar Jar, that would not surprise me. But a lot of these other Jedi, Eth Koth and others that just don't really have a place.
I got a Gear 11 ETH
This would
Koth.
be the
Bring it
perfect
on. Let's
time to do
go. My Gear 11
Yeah.
ETH Koth will be like my Ewoks. Maybe my Gear 11 ETH Koth will actually do something for me in the near future. That would make me smile. That would be great.
Yeah.
But
He's
I do-
awesome.
Yeah, man, I can't wait for all this. I can't wait for Clone Wars stuff. I love the cartoon. These guys are awesome. You got the whole prequel series along with the cartoons. There's just so much they can do. I don't suppose we'll ever see Watto in the game, but man, that would be really funny to me.
I have never thought about adding him to the game. He's one of the, I mean, for a fairly major character, I have never even thought about him entering this game. That's interesting.
Right? I mean, there's so many characters from the Clone Wars and the Clone Wars cartoon and all the prequels that could come to this game. It's crazy to think about if they are working on Clone Wars stuff, that it will, what could come, what will happen with possible reworks and such. I don't know, man. I'm still saying I really want my Gear 11 clones to be better than they are, but we'll see how that goes. So,
Yeah, for sure. Had a point that I totally just lost.
playing in chat again, like me.
This Clone Wars era, I think, gives a lot of potential. Something that they mentioned in the Road Ahead post was, the Darth Malak event caught everybody off guard because they're talking about new events that they're going to be bringing. And, there have been some comments floating around this week about how they, I guess ways to bring characters, new ways of bringing characters into the game, but also they don't want it to be quite so easy for everybody to get them. Because, like me and you, there are characters that we still don't even have gear that have been here forever. So, what if the next logical solution is, say, because we've always been predicting a Jedi Knight Anakin or an Anakin fall, like a Dark Side Anakin type event or something.
What did we call it? The Heroes Fall or something like that? I don't remember what we called it.
Yeah, Villains Fall, Heroes... I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. If we see something like that where maybe there's, like, say, a 15,000 galactic power limit where you need 5 of these Galactic Republic Jedi to go beat one of these mythic events to get the fallen Jedi Knight, or you wouldn't be a Jedi then, but a dark side Anakin.
What is it? Do you have red or yellow eyes? I can't remember. Because I'd really like for his name just to be Yellow Eyes Anakin. Red Eyes Anakin.
Yellow Eyes. Yeah, there you go.
No, I still think Order 66 Anakin is an awesome name. I don't know, man. It's interesting that there's...
I think would actually be the ideal name.
Yeah, I think that would make the most sense. I think it's interesting for sure that 2 of them and not a third got a Zeta. So, but it's what? Let's go on and talk about Ahsoka because I'm curious. I can't even remember what the Zeta was, whether that was the double attacks or not. I can't remember. So, let's bring up Ahsoka's kit here. This is the rework, not the retouch. I don't know the total reason between the 2 different names, but besides the fact that Ahsoka's got a lot of green and the other 2 didn't. So Ahsoka starts with the basic called Focus /. That's a new name. Final text. The only thing she has from her original basic is deal physical damage to the target. So that didn't change. It's not special now. I guess that's the only difference there. And dispel all buffs on them. So she's now dispels on basic, much like Nihilus, who we've always raved about, Sunfuck, who he's also raved about back in the day. Now she's got a Dispel on her basic.
R2D2 Zeta kind of has something similar.
Okay. There's not a lot of them, so this is definitely a huge buff to her basic. But that's not even where it ends. On a critical hit, dispel all debuffs on Ahsoka and another random Galactic Republic ally. So now she's got a way to, dispel on her basic as well as cleanse herself and someone else if she crits. So having crit chance on her might end up being, at least having a decent amount. Very important. This attack can't be evaded if the target has foresight. So that's a new thing to do there with the foresight. But I like this basic.
Especially on a basic. Not a lot of basics completely ignore foresight, but kind of like I was saying, the R2D2 thing that he has was a critical hit and you cleanse yourself. So she has this cleanse herself and someone else. The only problem is she does have to use her basic for that to happen. So I think that alone, there's an argument for putting some tenacity on her so that she can counter, which she will generally have with General Kenobi on that team, because you'll want her to be able to cleanse herself and somebody else, be able to be called in for assist. You don't want her to get dazed or something like that. So,
but not to jump ahead, but onto your point about you needing her to have her use her basic to do this. I guess I am jumping ahead, but once we get down to her uniques, you'll see that there's a very easy way to start getting her to use that basic. If your Galactic Republic allies are using their specials, she's coming in and using that basic and doing all of this stuff. So this is probably going to be happening quite often, which makes the basic even better because of the fact that it is going to be used so often. So it's a really good basic. And then throwing in the fact that she's going to be called in to assist often enough to make this happen, it just makes it even stronger. And so you move on to her second special, Protective Maneuver. 3-turn cooldown. She still deals physical damage to the target enemy, but the new stuff is this. If Jedi Knight Anakin or General Kenobi is an ally, deal damage again. If both are allies, deal damage a third time. If the ally leader is Galactic Republic, this attack deals 50% more damage. If all allies recover 20% health and all Galactic Republic allies gain protection up 20% for 1 turn. So another way to gain protection up, looking back into Kenobi's new unique. 3 attacks on this special, which this special has always done decent damage. Now to do it 3 times is pretty huge, especially if it's under a Galactic Republic leader. And like you said, there isn't really a great one right now, so maybe we'll see one that makes this even better, but there's that. So 3 attacks, 50% more damage, giving everyone health and protection up, which goes into Kenobi's unique. This is a really nice change for this, I think.
Something else I think is really cool. So this is obviously not the only Ahsoka in the game. We have Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum, and she kind of has a similar ability in which she has a special in which the number of attacks, it's a multi-attack ability, and the number of attacks that she does is based on some determining factor. Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum, it's the number of buffs on her, and for this Ahsoka, it is the presence of Anakin and General Kenobi, which I think is really cool. It, allows a little bit of strategy to maximize the ability, and the 50% more damage for a Galactic Republic ally is also a really nice bonus.
For sure. The leader, Quick Steps, did not change. She did not lose her Night Sister alliance there, which has always just been pretty funny to me, but Jedi and Night Sister allies have 14% evasion and gain 20% turn meter whenever they evade. So that is still the same as it's always been. It's hilarious to me because she's almost like a mini Kenobi with that leadership. I don't know what the evasion given by Kenobi is, or the turn meter given by Kenobi. But I'm kind of curious now. I'm going to have to look it up. But yeah.
You know what would be unbelievably irritating? I just now started thinking about this. Like, an Ahsoka lead that has, Jedi Knight Anakin, so she has the crit immunity. She would have 34% evasion. And gain 20% turn meter when she evades. So, I mean, a third of the time when you attack her, you're giving her turn meter. That would be kind of interesting. I'm not sure if there's much there, because there are better leaders.
Put it in your Grand Arena.
Sounds like
I want to see
annoying to deal with.
Let us know how it goes.
I may test it.
We'll do. I'm always down to test weird teams.
We're going to talk about comps for these characters in a second, but first we want to talk about this.
Okay, here's the breakdown compared to Kenobi's
ability.
leadership. Kenobi's leadership is all allies gain 15% evasion, so 1% more evasion, and gain 30% turn meter whenever they evade an attack. So he gives 10% more turn meter, so a big chunk better there. But she's definitely a mini Kenobi lead as far as Jedis go. Kenobi obviously does it for all allies, but under a Jedi team might be an interesting attempt with a few of your leftover Jedi under him.
Here's an important factor, though. If you went with Old Ben, you would not have a Galactic Republic leader ability. Therefore, she would not be getting called in on assists, and she would not be getting that 50% damage bonus on the special. So that would be one advantage of going with her if you want to try an evasion team like that.
So what we're doing right now is coming up with teams we should have 5 months ago for her, because this is the old leadership. So we should probably move on to the actual new stuff. But I've never really thought about the fact that she's basically a mini Kenobi. It makes me laugh.
Yeah.
But now for the real meat and potatoes.
Well, but I mean,
you can still use it. It's not changing. So I mean, if you have these characters, and especially if you're a new player, it might be worth something to try for sure. But I think what you said there is the key. She's not going to get the most out of her kit anymore if she's sitting in the leader spot. So there's that. Unique Daring Padawan. Final text with a Zeta. Ahsoka has plus 40% max health, plus 10% evasion, plus 10% crit chance. So that already helps with her basic. And 25 speed. These values are doubled while she has crit hit immunity, which she can gain from Kenobi. And
so I know she got some of these bonuses before. I'm not exactly sure what the numbers were. I do believe they were doubled while she had crit hit immunity. I'm not sure if this was just a rephrasing and clarification on that, or if these numbers were actually increased. If anyone in the live chat knows, let us know. But
they're good numbers.
So they are. So
here's
numbers.
More of the crit. Here's more of the crit hit without even Kenobi present. But if Jedi Knight Anakin is an ally, Ahsoka gains crit hit immunity for 2 turns at the start of each encounter and whenever she uses a special ability. So despite Kenobi, she has a way built into her kit when Anakin is there to gain that crit hit immunity at the beginning of a battle. At the start of each encounter, which I believe... you can tell me if you think I'm right or wrong on this. Start of encounter meaning if you were using her in TB, every time you went to the next phase, she would get it again, right? That's an encounter. Each phase is an encounter.
Yes,
I think.
I do.
So
so
she's gonna get crit hit immunity at the beginning of each encounter, and whenever she uses a special. She has 1 special, so every 3 turns you're gonna get this. But definitely interesting to add on to the all the double bonuses she gets from crit hit immunity. There are 2 ways now, if Kenobi's there and if Anakin's there, for her to get that, to keep those numbers up. And then also the last one here that we were kind of talking about earlier that makes that basic even more awesome If the ally leader is Galactic Republic, Ahsoka is called to assist whenever another Galactic Republic ally uses a special ability. So, if you got a Galactic Republic person in the leader spot, she is going to assist every time a Galactic Republic ally uses their special ability. So all those cleanses, all those debuffs are going to happen often and quick, especially when you got characters in there that have a lot of, or to have a couple specials, like R2-D2, for example, is one. General Kenobi, another. And I do believe C-3PO is even Galactic Republic, right? I mean, he...
Yes, he is. Him
he
and
spans
R2-D2
just as many
well.
as R2-D2, I believe, so... Let's
Yeah,
just look.
so
I'm going to go look at Galactic
this
Republic, because I'm curious
This
just
is
how...
the ability that really makes her interesting. I mean, because that last part's the Zeta ability. The, the being called in to assist wherever they use a special ability. And getting her to call in and use that basic that often, obviously the more Galactic Republic you have, the more specials you're going to have for her to get called in. But I don't know if there's a good way to... I don't think there's anyone that has kind of an endless loop on a special ability. I say endless loop, but like a really short cooldown. So you almost kind of have to use them multiple characters together. But one thing I do like is the fact that one of the greatest leaders in this entire game is Galactic Republic, and that is Rex.
I was about to say, Rex? You didn't have to talk for very long besides greatest leaders in the game, and I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good ability, leader ability, and I mean, he gives tenacity up, she gets called. He uses special, she gets called. That's also more turn meter to the entire team. That is definitely a team that I think could be very frustrating to deal with.
I just had a terrible thought. Please don't change Rex's leader ability with these reworks. Just always leave it what it was.
Unless you improve it.
Unless it's improved. Please don't ever touch Rex.
Actually, I don't know. I don't know if I wanted to improve, because right now it's...
If it were improved, it would be even more
borderline
ridiculous.
usable. It's always borderline usable. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's as long as it stays what it is, I will be happy. If it gets a little better, that's cool too. But man, I couldn't imagine like it changing at this point, because it's just I just use it so much. My buddy team of Rex and Wampa would be very sad. Would be very, very sad. But yeah.
So the one issue here is, so she does get called in to use her basic ability. The problem is her basic ability does decent damage, but it's not super great. Like I said, mine's Gear 11, one extra piece, the piece that adds speed, doesn't add any additional damage. And this is with 3 offense primaries, crit damage set, crit damage primary, and she's around 14,000 on a basic. It's pretty good. But it's not... I mean, I don't think it's one of those situations that I'm going to be going out of my way to necessarily ensure that the entire team is Galactic Republic, because the one extra assist from Ahsoka may make a difference. You know, it's going to be more about team synergy and fitting a good team together. Fortunately, I think there are enough Galactic Republic characters that, you know, you can build a pretty good team with her. But I love this ability. Love it.
Yep, it'll definitely make her an interesting thought in all Galactic Republic teams going forward. So, I'm really looking forward to that.
Agreed.
So let's start off with something that I know you've wanted to talk about, and We'll see. Just
you start this, and I'll be right back to rant.
okay. I figured that that would be the case. So, Gnawing Terror on Malak got an update with the same update that gave us the retouches and reworks of the Galactic Republic Jedi. And that rework, or that addition to his kit, was in the form of his unique Gnawing Terror, and it added the words, Sith enemies can't gain turn meter, or bonus turn meter. Excludes raid bosses, so it does not work on Traya and Nihilus Scion in the Heroic Sith raid. So this was an interesting turn of events. It was something that basically was added because of the fact that Palpatine teams were having their way with Darth Revan-led Malak teams. And I guess it wasn't performing to the standards of what they believed Malak should be for the amount of work you put in to get him. Yeah, it's just it was an interesting change. Did not affect me at this point, but I know there are a lot. Actually, it does. That's why I put my Gear 8 Malak into my team, because there are a lot of Palpatines in the top of my arena, so I knew that that would help me with them, despite the fact he was low gear. So it did change a little bit for me as far as my strategy went, but it seemed, I don't know, it was a weird way to push out a team that was a counter, I think. Now, I'll say this before we get into it, I've had this weird stigma the last few weeks about really wanting to fight semantics, but I'm going to fight semantics on this. Just to start off, this was not a nerf to Palpatine. This was a buff to Malak. Palpatine did not get nerfed because everywhere else except against Darth Revan-led teams with Malak in it, he's still the same guy he was. He did not get nerfed. The team got nerfed overall against a team with Malak in it. Malak just got buffed. So your investment in Palpatine is still good. It's just not the thing that it was in Arena before this happened. And I totally understand being upset about that. I'm just saying they didn't nerf Palpatine. It was a Malak buff.
I disagree.
Yeah, well, you always disagree, so I'm not surprised.
They did. They did nerf it against Malak. And here's my argument.
But they didn't do anything to him.
What happened?
His kit didn't change, so they didn't touch him. They didn't nerf him.
Hear me out. What happens if a character you have inflicts offense down on the enemy? You did not just buff your team. You nerfed or debuffed the opposing team. And that is what Malak does. He has a constant debuff on your team. He has nerfed the Emperor Palpatine lead when going against them.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way to argue against it.
They're not as effective. I agree. They're not nerfed. You go into any other game mode against any other team, and they're still the team they were. They did not get nerfed. Nothing changed in their kits. They're not nerfed. They're nerfed against Malak, which means he was buffed.
No, I
okay,
don't
so
agree.
you're arguing a nerf in a very specific way, because overall they were not nerfed. They were nerfed in a very specific way. Then I'll give you that. But that team was not nerfed at all. They were only nerfed against Malak.
Okay. Yeah. Obviously, it doesn't nerf it in the whole game, but it nerfs it against Malak. And that's the part that I find, like, when they announced him, they announced that there was going to be a change coming to him. That's the part that annoyed me so much, is because it's not really like they made what Malak does better. They didn't do anything to make him at what he does better. They changed him to make what somebody else does completely ineffective and useless, to directly counter a team that helped create a diverse meta and a rock, paper, scissors type meta, which is what they've been talking about wanting to do, because Emperor Palpatine lead allows for a Bastila Shan lead. It allows for Jedi Knight Anakin lead, and it helps counter to some degree Darth Revan lead, even with Malak. So I will give you this. There was a change that needed to happen. I was running an Emperor Palpatine lead with Darth Nihilus, Darth Revan, Bastila Shan, and Sith Trooper. And there's a guy in my arena that has ridiculous mods, better than mine, had a Gear 12, maxed Malak with Zetas. I would hit auto on his team and set my phone down, and I would win every single time. That's not the intent of bringing Malak into the game, clearly. So it's not a change to Malak that I have an issue with. It's what the change was that I am just seriously not a fan of, simply because of how much it killed Emperor Palpatine lead and killed the opportunity for a diverse meta. I think there are other solutions. The solution that I thought of was the possibility of giving Malak and Darth Revan, giving them some of the turn meter that the enemies are gaining, or something like that, that I think would help balance things. But then again, I'm not testing it, so I don't know. But I would have liked to have just seen a different way of going about this, because, I mean, I really hate just killing what they did. But
here's what can make you hopeful, which is why it wasn't a nerf. Going forward in the future, Palpatine can still counter metas because he wasn't nerfed. If Darth Revan isn't in the meta in the future, you might have to bring a Malak in to counter Palpatine if he becomes the meta again, because he can become the meta in the future again with his leadership unchanged. Now, on your side of things, I do think you're right that there was a weird change just to be added in that sentence, but I am glad that it was him that changed and not lazy. Palpatine. Well, I don't know. I don't know their plans. I don't know what the other options were or what was, but I know that there are definitely a lot of community options that could have been asked and brought forth.
That's true.
Before this one was implemented, but obviously it's not a good business sense to go and ask the community every time there's an issue what we should do, because obviously they got to do what's best for them. But this one I feel like should have been given a little more time to figure out the best way of going about it without completely taking out what made Palpatine work. Maybe something that made it much harder but didn't completely negate it. I don't know. It's just
or maybe cut the turn meter gain in half. I mean, there are a lot of Sith characters. I mean, Darth Nihilus, Sith Assassin, Sith Marauder. There are a lot of characters that gain turn meter bonuses. And I think the really awesome thing about turn meter bonus gains is the fact that it really creates, or it de-emphasizes speed on mods. And I mean, that's probably a moneymaker. I get it, but they've talked about wanting to get away from speed being the end-all be-all. And having other ways to gain turn meter and gain speed allows you to go with different mods.
You know what?
To create what?
Mods for money might be the biggest money maker this game has, because by getting mods for money is the hardest thing I think that you could try to spend money on. If you our guest last week, Darth Microtransaction, put out a video this week. I don't know if you watched it. I watched it, and I told him before he did it, because he asked about the idea of this video, and I weighed in on it. But he spent a vault on mods. I don't remember the exact number of decent mods that he got out of that vault, but it was not very high. So if you're going to spend money on mods, you're going to be spending a lot of money. So I don't know that mods specifically are a money thing. if you have the money, there are probably people out there spending it to get those mods, but mods themselves are something in the game that I feel like you have to have a strategy and you have to be smart about, and it doesn't matter as much the amount of money you have to put into the game, because you can have better mods than anyone without money, and that can make you a better player than some people that spend all the money on characters. You know what I mean? That's why so many people are able to fight as free to play in the arena.
Mods are very much tied to credits also, and credits are kind of expensive to get with crystals, which I kind of think, you know, in a sense, actually kind of deters people from probably doing that, I would think. But, you know,
that's exactly why spending money on mods is a terrible idea, in my opinion, because there's two ways to do it. You can buy a whole bunch of refreshes and try to farm mods that way, which usually ends up with about on a 20 roll on any type of mod, you're probably going to get 12 to 13 whites, 2 to 3 greens, you know, maybe a couple blues, and then maybe 1 gold and 1 purple. You're not getting much out of it. Not anything really of value, I don't think. And then on top of that, if you want to buy them out of the shop, sure, the shop has a cheap refresh rate, but the credits you're going to need to buy them out of there and then level them, that's a lot of credits you're buying. And like you said, those credits are not cheap either. So, I don't know. That's why...
That's true.
I don't know. So...
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the whole fact of this Jedi Knight Anakin. He's really good against Malak. There have been videos everywhere. I'm sure you've seen them at this point. His AoE is flat out nasty. I mean, there are people getting over 100,000 damage on his AoE, you know, per hit.
Keep it coming. I love it.
You can get 500,000 damage total. It's crazy. I love it too. I don't want to see it changed. I don't at all. There's been a lot of speculation on what the nerf's going to be, or if there is a nerf. There was a post that was put out earlier today, and they discussed this whole deal. It was a really well put together post, covered a lot of stuff, and as much as I was, very, very much up in arms about earlier this week, I'm a little less up in arms, about this post. I'm fine with the post. I think it was a great post. But they're going to be refunding gear on Sith Assassin due to the Malak thing, just because they talked about the synergy that Sith Assassin would directly have with Darth Revan. And that is the biggest part of Sith Assassin, is the turn meter percentage gain. And now that that's killed, they are going to be refunding gear since Darth Revan was announced. But if you want that gear refunded, do not be putting any additional gear on her, or else it could affect the way that they're figuring all this up, and you may not be able to get that refunded. So keep that in mind. Very important. And the other thing is they're going to be analyzing data to determine nerf status. So essentially, most of the videos I've seen are Jedi Knight Anakin taking down 5 and 6 star gear 11 Malaks, not maxed out gear 12 Malaks, when people are using a maxed out gear 12 Jedi Knight Anakin. To me, I have no issue with there being that discrepancy. A more geared character that is supposed to be really good beating a less geared character that is supposed to have a better kit, I don't really see how that's an issue. Mod your characters, get them finished, and then talk to me about it. Because gear 12 Malaks, I've had complete and total hell beating them, even with Jedi Knight Anakin. And I've got some really damn good mods, and I still cannot make him take out Malak. And so I don't think that this is... I don't think this is Malak breaking as people are really rushing out to make it seem like it is.
I just want us to wait a little bit. Wait a little bit longer than we did with Palpatine to make a change.
I 100% agree.
See what happens.
And
just let's move a little forward. And if it is something, just don't walk back the changes to Anakin to the point he's back to his old self. This guy should be. I mean, it's Vader. This is Vader before he was Vader. He was one of the biggest characters in Star Wars. He's always been on the second front for even Jedi teams. He deserves to be a good character. And right now, with this retouch, he's a better character. And he needs to stay that better character. So I'm hoping 100%. That if they do make a change, it's not anything crazy, but that we take the time to look at the data and who's beating him or who he's beating, and whether or not it's maxed out or modded correctly characters other than these Malak's people are just still trying to work on. I just really hope that JK. Spoiler alert, Anakin is Vader. Sorry if I ruined that for anyone, but that is the truth. But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to monitor, especially after the Palpatine thing with the Sith enemies can't get to bonus turn meter, to nerf someone they just retouched 2 days ago at this point is just not going to go well. So I really hope that they look at this pretty hard and figure out what the best course of action is and what happens. Because I'll throw this out there too. Arena's arena, and yeah, it sucks if you're a whale and Malak's not performing the way you want, but whales also have Anakin at Gear 12. And just as much as they want Malak to be good, they probably want Jedi Knight Anakin to stay good as well, because they're going to use him. So let's just try to keep that under control and make sure we can keep Anakin where he deserves to be. That's all I want to
100%.
see. 100%. So. Yep.
And
I think we're losing Wink. I think we're losing him. He's going to come back. I swear. He'll start moving soon. Maybe won't, maybe not.
Making it a bonus turn. This kind of change is the way you can mod.
He sounds like he's making great points.
Still, can you hear?
I wish we could hear him.
Can you hear me now?
I think you're back. Chickenbottm completely agrees with everything you just said, even though we just kept hearing. It was great. I think we lost him again. He probably didn't hear a word I said. Let's be honest here. I'm gonna try to get Wink back. I don't know if I can pull him out of the internet void, but I'm gonna do it. So just give me 2 seconds, and I will make this happen. Because he's gone. He's gone. We're gonna have to bring in Wink 2.0 for the rest of the show. But that internet killed Wink just now. It probably wasn't important anyway. Probably not. I mean, come on. All right. That's wrong. All right, let's go. I'm calling him back. We'll see if we can get him back.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Everyone out there in Twitch land can hear you again too. I think.
Yay! Very exciting.
All right, he's back, everyone. Wink 2.0 to finish the podcast. We got rid of the one I never agree with. This one always agrees with everything I say. So.
Oh, very funny.
Very funny. I know.
All right, so do you have anything else to say about the Jedi Knight Anakin situation?
I am looking forward to Galactic Republic in the future, and I'm looking forward to possibly Separatists, hopefully, because that's the opposite side. Let's see what they get. And then I also want to see the clones. I really want to see some clone stuff. So I'm really looking forward to what's coming this summer. Chickenbottm knows what's up. That's what happens when you tread on GoodNightPunk.
Nice. Whatever. All right. So, let's go into this last thing.
Hey boys, do you have any tips for us less experienced players?
So I got a very big tip here.
I'm sure you do.
Very big tip.
All right. So, I want to talk about building some Jedi teams specifically for Grand Arena, because these reworks, I think, really change the way you want to set up your teams. And do you have your game available at hand, GoodNightPunk?
I do. It's right here in front of my face. What are we looking at?
Alrighty. So, I have 10 Jedi at gear 12. Jedi Knight Revan, Grandmaster Yoda, Hermit Yoda, Old Ben, Bastila Shan, Jolie Bindo, Ezra, Qui-Gon, Jedi Knight Anakin, and General Kenobi. I then have a couple, at gear 10 and 11, but that's pretty much it. So I gotta figure out what to do with these characters regarding Grand Arena, because I have Qui-Gon Zated. So I have his
Before
leader,
you move
I've got
on,
Grandmaster Yoda's.
Before you move on, I want to touch on your second point before we go into Grand Arena strategy, and that is Galactic Republic synergy, and mention this fact. Kit Fisto is gear 2, level 53. I'm a Gun D is level 50, gear 2. Plo Koon is level 53, gear 1. Isla Secura is level 53, gear 1. Jedi Knight Guardian is level 53, gear 1. And the only Galactic Republic Jedi I even have geared up, only because I used him to get Yoda, is Kvothe. So that tells you where those Jedi are at from the Galactic Republic, for me at least. And I don't know where yours are sitting. I know Isla Secura probably has a little more gear for you than me. But as far as the rest of that group goes, and Galactic Republic synergy, if that becomes a thing, and those become key cogs of that, I am not ready at all.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people that are that way because there's never been any use for them. Zero. They've never been good. They've never really been anything. So I could see them forcing our hand in a reason to gear them up possibly in the future. We will see. But so what are you thinking about doing in regards to your Jedi? Do you have a plan yet? And if so, or I guess I should ask, have these reworks affected your plan?
No, they have not affected my plan so much as I was working on First Order before Malak dropped and I got him. I plan to finish First Order because all I have, if I'm going for the normal First Order team, which we've already said a couple episodes ago that First Order is about the third easiest synergy team to gear in total, that's who I'm going for because mine's just kind of so-so. Even though I have a 2 Zeta crew, I'm still going after First Order Officer. That's guy I'm going to get to gear 11, and then I still have Kylo Ren at gear 8 and First Order Stormtrooper at gear 8. So that was my plan originally. And that's what I'm sticking to. But I think once I finish that team, then I'm going to move towards what we know, the types of things that are coming, we know are coming this summer. But I can't decide whether that's... I have all my clones at Gear 11, and then I have huge mountains to climb on all these Galactic Republic characters. So I think that I'm going clones after First Order and getting them all to Gear 12, and then going to Galactic Republic or Separatists, depending on if Separatists get anything and which of the two I think I like better as far as the team goes. And I might even look at the gearing matrix that we've talked about to see which of those two would be an easier team to gear at that point. But I don't have any real plans for Jedi right now, only because there are so many teams that I've neglected over the last 8 months for things I didn't exactly want to gear, that I want to get to the gear things I want to gear at this point. And right now that is the First Order and then clones. So I don't know, but it sounds like you got an idea. So why don't you tell me what yours is?
So I will first mention my general Grand Arena strategy, which will be changing from this point going forward, in which I will usually use a short Jedi Revan team, in which it usually consists of Revan, Grandmaster Yoda, and Hermit Yoda. Sometimes Jolee. Almost never General Kenobi, because I always want to use less than 5 characters, and I love Hermit Yoda on that team because he helps guarantee that I will absolutely finish with full health and protection about 80% of the time, which I like getting those extra points. So
and he adds extra turn meter, right?
Do what?
He adds extra turn meter? Basic
Oh,
adds 5% turn meter.
Yes.
So he makes your team faster, even faster on offense. So.
And, you know, having 4 characters instead of 3 gives you the 5 additional speed as well. So, yes, there are definitely advantages to using them. So, if I can get away with Jedi Knight Revan, Grandmaster Yoda, and Hermit Yoda, those 3 I will do it. Generally, if it's against another Revan team, I'll have to use Jolee. So I think I will keep those 4 separated, but the big problem I have is Bastila Shan. I don't know what to do with her because she's typically my defensive leader, in which I will use her, Ezra, Ayla, Old Ben. I love using Old Ben because he gets 15% turn meter bonus right off the top with the Bastila lead, so we can go early. And then I usually use Jedi Knight Anakin on that team, but given nice show on there. Given the fact that she is not a Galactic Republic leader, I kind of need to move away from her, and I have this Qui-Gon Jinn lead sitting there. So Qui-Gon Jinn, his lead gives 30 additional speed to all Jedi, which isn't too far off from what Jedi Knight Revan offers speed-wise. It gives foresight to everyone at the beginning. It gives additional offense equal to their speed, so I'm, triple the amount. So I'm looking at an extra 600 to 900 offense per character there, which is incredibly beneficial. So I think Qui-Gon might be a good starting point for a lead with Jedi Knight Anakin, Ahsoka, and General Kenobi, because after this rework, I want to keep Anakin, Ahsoka, and General Kenobi together. I think that's a pretty good strategy. But I end up in a spot where I have those 4 characters, and I need a 5th. I just don't know who the 5th is. I think I want an Old Republic character. The problem is the next good ones I have are like Ayla. Ayla, Mace Windu. My Mace is kind of terrible. Ayla I like a lot. She's a good character, but I don't know who that next character is. So my first thought actually was using 5s, because I do have him gear 12, but he has a few interesting things, in which one of them is the ability to call in an assist. So he would call in an assist along with calling in Ahsoka due to Ahsoka's Zeta ability.
Is Barriss Galactic Republic?
Sound like
She's
you're
gotta
about to
be.
say something. Yes, I think she is.
Buy that life-size
Yes.
Velociraptor. I took it off the screen. The Velociraptor will no longer distract us. But I brought up on my screen my Jedi on my alt account because my alt account has a lot of really high geared Jedi, and I've always struggled with that.
Okay.
With that account because I just have so many, and it's always been the Jedi Knight Revan team on offense for me with Grandmaster Yoda, Bindo, and Hermit Yoda, and then oftentimes I'll throw in Bastila Shan, but that hurts a Bastila Shan lead team. Most of the time I bring in I have Kenobi with Barriss Ophi with the Zeta that I would start that team. See, I'd like the idea of a Kenobi lead with Barriss, Anakin, Ahsoka, and then a fifth. Though I don't know who the fifth would be. Maybe Isla, because of her being Galactic Republic. I think that would be a really good team. Kenobi, Barriss, Anakin, Ahsoka, and Isla. I think that would be a good defense team. Once you get the Zetas on them. I don't have them yet, but that is definitely something I could do easily with my alt account. I always use Qui-Gon as a leader on offense against crappy set defense teams and Territory Wars and Grand Arena, just because of that offense and the foresight. But I used to put Anakin with him because I needed something for offense with him. But using that team with Kenobi kind of leaves nothing really left with Qui-Gon. Besides Mace, Luminara, Consular, and then you start getting into the bottom pits on this account, which are exact same as on my other account, where you got I'm a Gundy at 9, Plo Koon at 9, Kvothe is gear 8, Jedi Knight Guardian. So there's definitely a way to do it, but you got to figure out the best 3 teams, and I think there are probably 3 really good teams out there. I just don't know what they are. I do really like the idea you're talking about, though, with Revan, Yoda, Bindo, Hermit Yoda for offense, and then I like that Kenobi team for defense. Mm-hmm. So if we're leaving everything out, if we're going to that point and we're leaving things out, and what we have left is Bastila Shan, Ezra Bridger, Qui-Gon Jinn, Old Ben Kenobi. So, I mean, you could go Bastila Shan, Old Ben Kenobi, Ezra, Qui-Gon, and, like, Luminara for heals or Mace Windu. But I wouldn't go much further down into the dregs than that at this point.
Yeah.
But that could be a decent team because, hey, Qui-Gon, even if he's not in the leader spot, does decent damage along with his Dispel and his assist. You got Ezra in there for offense. You've got Old Ben doing his taunts and his amazing AoE. Not to mention Bastila Shan's leadership is already making them harder to kill over time anyway. So, yeah. It is Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui? Is it not? Okay. Qui or Kai? Am I just... What? I keep reading chat and I'm like, oh... I guess I went back to my old way of saying it. Then I said it right earlier, they said. I don't know. But anyways.
It's so funny.
I like Qui-Gon Jinn myself, so I'm going to continue to say it. Kawaii.
Something I was thinking about.
Kawaii-Gon Jinn. He's so cute.
If you have Ahsoka Tano geared up, but you've not put a Zeta on her, a team comp that I love the idea of using is a Bastila Shan lead with Ahsoka, Jedi Knight, Anakin, and General Kenobi, because with Anakin and Ahsoka giving the protection up because of Bastila Shan's, super tenacity with protection up, that would be a really good way to help give everyone protection up and keep that tenacity while still keeping Grandmaster Yoda with Jedi Knight Revan, if that is a situation you find yourself in.
I'm still having fun with
So,
these guys in chat about Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah, I can tell. I think I think for 3v3, I'm not sure where our next Grand Arena is, but as far as 3v3 goes, I keep trying to think of how I want to mix that up, because I think I want to keep those three together, but I don't know if I want to go with Kenobi or Anakin lead, because oh god, let's see. Anakin gives the 30% offense and 20% additional critical damage to Jedi, so that will be awfully nice. But Kenobi does have some pretty nice benefits, like the 30% max health, 70% defense. That you would get to take advantage of those. Man, I don't know. I think I would be tempted to go with a Jedi Knight Anakin lead just to get the extra damage. As much as I like Kenobi, I do think Jedi Knight Anakin is probably going to be the route that I go. But it will be, a little bit more burst damage, a little bit less survivable, but I think it'll actually be pretty good. Apparently the next Grand Arena is 3v3, so yeah, I think I'm going to go with Jedi Knight Anakin. I'll report back next week on how it does. So I'm pretty excited to see what, the future of the Jedi Order is in SWGOH, but I don't think we have much left to talk about with this, and I think it's getting pretty close to a trivia time. GoodNightPunk. Oh wait, no. No, I forgot. I forgot we have this still.
Since everyone loves a good poll, let's dance through the results and see what you thought this week.
All right, so we're gonna run through the poll pretty. We're not gonna spend too much time on it, but there is some interesting information in here for sure. So, all right, let's go ahead and start digging in. We had 132 responses this week in the poll, and the first question is pretty simple. Did you unlock Malak? And out of these 132 responses, I think you can get a pretty good idea of the type of people that, for the most part, do these polls. 51.5% did not unlock him, but 48.5% did. I mean, it's damn near half and half that unlocked Darth Malak. That is pretty interesting. I did not expect that.
Yeah, it's pretty even, and you know what, to be honest, if you look at the numbers on Zetas on SWGOH, it's not surprising at this point. I don't think a ton of people got Malak, so seeing this evenly split, I'm actually more surprised on the amount that got it that didn't. So, interesting that we got a pretty close to even split on this one.
Yep. And then the next question is, without getting into too much detail, how much do you think you spent to unlock Malak? We're not going to go over all the responses because we're already going kind of long, and, reading these isn't always the most exciting thing. But by a pretty good margin, 30% was basically people that were supremely careful to spend as little as possible, which I'm assuming this basically includes people that got them for free. That was 30%. Whenever I say free, I mean people that had saved up or whatever. I've heard of a lot of free-to-play characters that got him because they were kind of expecting it. So 30% were in that spot, and then
I think that I fall into that category a little bit more than the red one, which is the fourth highest one on our poll here. But this is the one who spent as little as possible. I didn't spend a ton to get him. I feel like the bulk of what I spent to get him was depleting my Zetas more so than gear.
Yeah.
I went down to 0 Zetas, and that was the first time I'd done that in a very long time. Now, the good news is those 2 Zetas are really good, so I wasn't opposed to using them because now I can use the Karth, the team I want to use, Karth, Mission, Zalbar, Cander's Ordo, and Gamorrean Guard for 5s, and then, well, I guess it doesn't use Mission and Zalbar, but the Karth and the Ordo and Gamorrean Guard for 3s. So I did spend on them. It's stuff that I probably wouldn't have spent on purpose, but it is stuff that is useful. So I spent a lot of resources in that aspect, but they are not wasted, I don't feel like, because I've always wanted the Karth team. I've talked about it on this podcast. So now I have that Karth team, all Gear 11 or better, with multiple Zetas, including Karths and Mission and Zalbar. So despite spending those resources, I think it was a good investment as far as having that team now and also getting Malak. So I don't know. It was an interesting breakdown here, but the second highest one was actually kind of surprising. Well, I guess it wasn't totally surprising. It was the I only have one Revan, but I hope that I'm close to getting a chance at the event after Revan. The Revan I am missing comes back around. So for everyone without Darth Revan, I'm guessing by the time Darth Revan comes back around and then Darth Malak comes back around, most people will be able to take step 1 to get Darth Revan and then one step further and grab Darth Malak. So a lot of those Darth people that I assume this question means most people had Jedi Knight Revan and not Darth Malak, or not Darth Revan, instead of the other way around. I don't think there were probably a lot of people that got Darth Revan but didn't have Jedi Knight Revan. So I'm assuming a lot of people will have Malak next time around because of the fact they'll probably hit sequentially Revan, then Malak. So I don't know. We'll see.
So the next question was, has Darth Malak met your expectation of power level? 42% said he was pretty much as expected. And, let's see, there was basically 40% said that he was better than expected or far exceeds expectations. So people are pretty happy with him in general. There was a few that were a little bit disappointed, but for the most part, people are pretty happy with him.
I mean, it's a good character. Here's what I don't like about him, and I'll say it again from last week. I'm depleting my guild event currency for a character that I should have unlocked at 7 stars. That's the only thing that bugs me. I'm going to have no guild event currency after I get him to 7 stars. When I should, for how hard that event was, to only get him at 5 stars was pretty, that kind of sucked. So.
Yep. This next question's the one I was most curious about. Darth Malak has already had some additional work to his kit. Do you think this was needed? And 46% said no. Specifically, cutting out a team from the meta is against the stated goal of rock, paper, scissors, which is entirely my argument. I was super happy to see that this many people were on my side of this.
So here's where this answer, I think, is misleading. Darth Malak has already had some additional work to his kit. Do you think this was needed? This answer is mostly predicated by the fact that people didn't like what was added to Malak, not whether or not he needed it. I think he needed something. I don't think that people liked what he was given. So I think that he needed something added to him. I don't think that what was added is what was needed, or what people think he needed, or what was wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This question doesn't really answer the question.
I think it does, because I think there's
if that second
enough
part,
variety of responses.
If that second part wasn't on there, I don't think that this would be if this question was out of there. I mean, if the second, I don't know how to phrase this. I think just because this is complaining about Palpatine, this is the obvious answer for everyone. But I don't think it answers the question of whether he needed a buff or not. I don't know.
Well, that wasn't the question, though.
It was. Darth Malak has
necessarily.
already had some additional work to his kit. Do you think this was needed? Do you think he needed work to his kit? That was the question. Yes, it was.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the.
Either way, I'm not surprised by the answer. That's all I'm saying. I just
Well,
don't think it
definitely
answered
no,
the
but-
question. Because if you look
Yeah,
at the second answer, which is 24%, yes, I think the kit was designed to have an answer to past few meta teams. But here's the thing with that answer. It did have the answer to the past few meta teams. It did not have an answer for Palpatine, which was not in the past two metas. So that answer, yeah, I don't know. It's just all muddled. It's not a, yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on to the next one. What do you think of General Kenobi's new Zeta? It's kind of diverse. A lot of answers right there between this 1-10 scale. A lot of answers right there between 5 and 8 for the most part. Only a few 9s and 10s, a couple 1s and 2s, a few more 3s and 4s.
This is where we said,
but
I don't think we've seen its full potential. So I can see it being right in the middle because I don't know that we've seen its full potential yet.
just because there's not enough to build a good Galactic Republic team yet.
Right. And the only way to get protection up on other Galactic Republic allies at this moment is with Anakin. Not with Ahsoka, just one character. So there's got to be some kind of protection up, something built into other reworks or retools that we'll see.
Ahsoka gives protection up. So does Grandmaster Yoda.
I thought he gave it to himself or herself. She gives it to everyone?
Mm-hmm. 20%.
Okay. So there's two now, and you've seen two of the three reworks with protection up. So I think that we're going to see more to it. I think that it makes sense this is right in the middle to me because I don't think we've seen the end of it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. We definitely have not seen the end of it, but the
That
answers
sounded
were
like you were having a
basically-
hard time saying that. I know it's hard sometimes for you to agree with me, but I feel like this one you definitely do.
agree with you on what?
The Kenobi, Zeta, and potential.
Oh yeah, well that's my opinion too. So of course I agree.
I'm making jokes here, okay?
Jeez.
Anyway.
So the answers on the what do you think of Ahsoka's rework? Scale of 1 to 10. Almost all the responses were 7 through 10. I mean, pretty heavily weighted towards 8 and 9, which I mean I think it's valid. It's a great rework. Very well done. Very happy. No complaints. Now this one. What do you think of Jedi Knight Anakin's rework? On a scale of 1 to 10, there were a couple lower ones. There was a couple 5s, a couple 6s. I assume trolls. But as you go 7, it increases. Then 8 increases from that. 9 increases from that. And 10 even increases from that. I mean, 9 and 10 were by far the, the two biggest responses here. Not surprising at all.
Semi-surprising is the fact that 10 was higher than 9. Usually 10 is a little lower than 9 when it tips up that high, but this one literally had 10 as the highest score. So that's the only surprising thing here. 10 is the high on this one. So yeah, exactly. It's people like it. I like it. I hope it's not. If something has changed it, I hope it doesn't damage it too much. But yeah, again.
Very good stuff. Very, very good stuff. All right. Would you believe the road ahead was only 10 days ago? There's been like so much information since then. It just doesn't seem like it. Busy news cycle, man. Busy news cycle.
Not all of them have been super exciting posts, but they have been posting.
That's true.
But the communication
So-
is there, whether or not we like it or not. At least we're hearing things, and that is always a good sign. So.
Yep, I agree. All right, final question. Star Wars Celebration, what was the most exciting announcement that came out? And this was the landslide. This one wasn't even freaking close.
Dude.
Episode 9
honestly-
announcements and trailer.
Honestly, last week I would have put this only because the one I'm going to pick wasn't out yet. And my pick is
Mandalorian?
actually The Mandalorian. Because the trailer was put out at Star Wars Celebration. And it wasn't even a trailer, it was actually a very long scene from the Mandalorian TV show. And they only showed it at Celebration. And on the Star Wars YouTube, it was blacked out and gone. So the only way to see it was to be at Celebration. But there were uploads of it on YouTube that I don't know if they're still there or not. But I managed to see one of them and watch one of the extended scenes from The Mandalorian. And holy cow, man, that show looks amazing. Like, as awesome and as hyped as I was for that trailer for episode 9, I am so excited for The Mandalorian, I can't even express it. That extended scene they showed looked amazing. Not only the fact that you finally saw Gus, I don't know if you were a Breaking Bad fan, but Gustavo Fring, the actor that played him.
Watching it currently.
Well, Gustavo Fring, his actor's in The Mandalorian. They showed him. That was awesome. They showed, obviously, The Mandalorian never took his mask off, but that was cool. And then, like, man, they just showed a lot of stuff. Like, they showed that scene, and then they showed a trailer, and I'm hyped for that show for sure. It's going to be awesome.
I totally agree. And that's why we will definitely be doing a podcast covering that.
About it, for sure. And we might have to pull in our Cantina Vizsla friends like we've been talking about, because I think the four of us talking about that show would be super fun.
Yeah, and for those of you interested, we're about to talk about some Game of Thrones. Very exciting.
Yes, we are.
But first, we have to do this.
It's time for the sexy bearded duo to battle in their SWGOH knowledge in the most exciting trivia event in the Outer Rim. It's time for the Shattered Order trivia. May the Force be with you.
All right, everyone.
Right.
For a second week in a row for trivia, we're going to have Wink's awesome girlfriend on the harp playing some Game of Thrones just to set the mood. But this week's trivia is about leadership abilities. Now, I had a lot of fun with the basic one, the one he Tesh did on basics. I'm really looking forward to seeing what I know about leadership abilities. So
Indeed. And first we want to give a big shout out to Forsu Arrow, who was top of the list last week on the trivia. So well done and congratulations. You win nothing other than our praise. So well done.
You get a shout out on the podcast. Forsu Arrow.
Exactly.
Congratulations. You were the top dog last week. So there we go.
Very cool.
All right, so for trivia this week, if you are playing along on Quizziz on the app on your phone or putting it into the website on your computer, here's your code. It is 496671. Again, that is 496671. Put that into your app, put it into your website, hit enter game, and come play with us.
Sweet. Are you ready to do this?
I'm ready. The minute I hit enter game, I know it's going to start the first question. So once you're ready, I will start us off.
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. All right, 3, 2, 1, let's do this. First question on leadership abilities. Today is about leadership abilities. Across all characters, which type of ability has the most with a Zeta as their highest level? Leaderships, uniques, specials, or basics? Again, the question was, across all things, is it leaderships, uniques, specials, or basics that have the most Zetas?
Ooh, this is tough. I don't know what to pick.
It's only down to 2 for me on that.
It's down to 2, but I could see it being a third one. I don't know. All right, I got my answer.
I know one it's not. Basic abilities.
I know one it's not as well, yes.
So, there's that.
All right. What did you select?
I selected uniques because I just didn't feel like there were enough leadership abilities.
I thought the same thing. Same logic.
All right. Well, there you go. I know there's plenty of specials that have them as well, but I didn't feel like it was anywhere near leadership or uniques, so ruled that one out very quickly.
I agree.
Question 2. Name the character with this leadership. Quote unquote, certain allies gain 100% potency and gain advantage for 2 turns when they inflict a debuff. ... I can rule one out.
The possible options are Jedi Knight Anakin, Cad Bane, Zam Wessel, and Darth Sidious. Yeah, I can rule one out as well pretty easily.
It's down to 2 for me, and I can't decide which of the 2, so I'm going to click on one and see if I got it right.
I have got my answer.
Oh.
And again, it is allies that gain 100% potency and gain advantage for 2 turns when they inflict a debuff, and the correct answer is Cad Bane, which I selected.
Did you? See, I said it was down to 2, and it was Zam or Cad for me, and I clicked on Zam, so I missed it.
You like Zam Zeta. I'm really surprised that you thought it was Zam. You've talked about how much you like that one.
I don't know, man. I don't know what happened there. I thought the potency was needed for the thermals, so I thought that was
I think she does have
key.
a thermal aspect, but the advantage is kind of pointless for those teams.
Yeah, that's very true. So
all right, so the third question is finish this leader ability. Empire allies gain plus 30% offense. Imperial Trooper allies gain 20 speed. Possible options are, and this is finishing that, and 15% critical chance, and 10% turn meter when they gain a buff, and 50% turn meter whenever an enemy is defeated, and a 50% chance to call another buff Imperial Trooper ally to assist when they use an ability. I have my answer. I'm really hoping it's correct.
I don't have an answer yet, so I'm thinking on air. I'm gonna go with buffs.
And again, the question is Empire. Finish this leader ability. Empire allies gain plus 30% offense. Imperial Trooper allies gain 20 speed. The answer is the 10% turn meter when they gain a buff.
What did you guess?
I guessed the correct answer because I knew that was General Veers.
Okay. Well, I figured he's the only leader ability that goes with troopers, so I figured it was Veers. I would have got that right for sure. I just wasn't totally sure about the second part to it.
I remember the mechanic because of Stark kind of being the keystone for making that team go with his buffs.
Ah, that makes sense. All right. Whose leader ability does not grant crit chance to all allies? The answers are RJT, Kira, Carth Onasi, and IG88. Again, question is, whose leader ability does not grant crit chance to any allies? RJT, Kira, Carth, or IG88?
I have my answer.
Mine's gonna be a guess. I don't know how. Don't think I can rule out any of these people. All right, so I'm guessing. I have my guess. I'm gonna read the question and the answers again. Whose leader ability does not grant crit chance to any allies? RJT, Kira, Carth Onasi, or IG88? And I got it wrong.
And you select?
I selected IG88.
I got it. I got it correct. I selected Carth Onasi. I knew RJT and I knew IG88 did. And I knew Kira gave crit chance. I wasn't sure if it was her unique or leader. I was thinking leader though, so I ended up getting it right.
All right, I'm 2 for 4. Not looking great. All right, which leadership ability was given a Zeta after the very first wave of Zetas? Darth Vader, Grandmaster Yoda, Asajj Ventress, or Finn? I have my answer immediately, but I'll say it again. Which leadership ability was given a Zeta after the very first wave of Zetas? Darth Vader, Grandmaster Yoda, Asajj Ventress, or Finn? That does not seem correct.
I agree with you. The correct answer was Finn. I selected Grandmaster Yoda because that was when his rework came, I am pretty sure, which was
I'm
just
almost
last year.
100% positive that was right before Bastila
that
he got his leadership.
Finn was... Yeah, I know Finn's leader ability, the one that was good, came well before Grandmaster Yoda. So I think there may have been an issue on that one.
I don't remember Finn getting a random Zeta anytime besides when Zeta came out. Like, that's why it wasn't even a... I thought it was there forever.
Yeah.
I don't like this. I don't like the way that went. All right.
Yeah, I think we may have... We'll see if that can be adjusted. I'm not sure if that can be adjusted.
A chink in the quiz armor right there.
Indeed.
Yeah. All right, next question. Question 6. Time for crappy leaders. Whose is this? Faction allies gain 20% offense and 9% crit chance, and they recover 5% of their max health when they score a critical hit. Answers are Talia, Dathcha, Mace Windu, or Aurora Roar.
I have my answer, but I don't feel good about it.
I have mine too. I'll read them again and then I'll click it. Time for crappy leaders. Whose is this? Faction allies gain 20% offense and 9% crit chance, and they recover 5% of their max health when scoring a crit hit. And I was wrong. I picked Aurora Roar.
Ah! I picked Talia. The correct answer was Mace Windu. That was one of the last ones I would have picked.
Yeah, I thought hers was better than that, but guess not. All right. I love this. The way this is worded. What about this steaming pile? Question mark. Faction allies gain 75% defense and 30% tenacity. Other allies gain half this amount. Aayla Secura, Fives, Gar Saxon, or Savage Oppress? I have an answer.
I'm down to 2 because I know 2 of these and I've eliminated those. The last 2, I don't freaking know.
I have this belief that one of these people does
answer.
not even have a leadership ability, and now I'm questioning myself. So I'm going to click on my answer. And I was correct.
Clicking mine as well. Shit. I selected Fives.
Fives does not have a leadership ability as far as I know. That's why I ruled him out immediately.
I wasn't sure if he did or not. I just didn't think that... I don't know. That being Savage's makes no sense, but whatever.
Holy crap. Fives does have a leadership ability. Clone allies gain 65 defense and other allies gain half that amount. So you weren't on the right track. It was similar, but it was not that one.
Yep. Damn. Oh well.
Tells you how much I use that steaming pile of crap as quoting Tesh there. All right. And
No
here we
kidding.
go. And this heap of garbage, question mark? Faction allies gain 30% offense and 15% potency. You've got Farm Boy Luke, Kvothe, Chief Nebbit, and Poe Dameron.
I do know this one.
I know who it's not, only because I know what this other steaming pile of garbage has as his leadership ability. So
Nice. Again, the question is faction allies gain 30% offense and 15% potency.
And I eliminated one of my two other answers because you said you knew it, and I know you would not know the person I wanted to click. So I have my answer.
Ah, damn. So I'm assuming Nebbit
Yes.
is what you're talking about there. Yeah. Damn.
Totally clicked it.
All right. What is your answer?
Poe Dameron. I thought it was Kvothe until I realized you would not know Kvothe's leadership ability. So there's that.
It's true. I am familiar with Pose because I use it now instead of Finn.
There you go. Last one. Speaking of Kvothe, finish Kvothe's leader ability. Jedi allies gain 60 defense and 20% tenacity and 10% crit avoidance, and other allies gain half this amount, or period. Now, are we putting the period in place of the ellipsis, or are we putting 4 periods at the end of the sentence?
I think the ellipsis is more of a blank spot, but
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
all right. What are you going with?
I don't honestly know. Man, I'm thrown off by the period. I'll tell you that much. All right, I got an answer, and I'm gonna go with it.
What are you going with?
Have you clicked yours yet?
I have.
I clicked the period.
Lucky. I thought about it. I knew I should have. Damn it. How many points did you end up with?
I got 5 out of 9.
Yep, that's what I got too. Dang it. I should have beat you this week.
Finally, a Quizziz that you did
Very
not beat me
disappointing.
at.
Very, very disappointing.
Now, I didn't beat you, but I didn't lose to you, so that I feel better about that. All right. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You can pronounce
I like the
ellipsis,
quizzes so
but
far. This
not
works pretty
Qui-Gon
well.
Jinn. Can't touch. You can pronounce ellipsis, but not Qui-Gon Jinn. I pronounce Qui-Gon Jinn completely fine.
Nice.
From a certain point of view.
All right. Well, if you guys hung out with us this long, we appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. And if you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you'd like to support the show. Multiple places to do so. You can sub on Twitch or patreon.com. Make sure you join our Discord, discord.me/shatteredorder. Anything else that we need to mention?
Big important thing for you all to know from the last 4, 5, 7, 8, I don't even know how many weeks this has been a problem, but discord.me/shatteredorder now correctly works. I didn't realize they updated that website and I needed to go fix our link. I went in there this week and I fixed our link. It has all the description of our server. It has a new link in there. The discord.me bot now can create its own invites. So if you go to discord.me/shatteredorder forever from now until eternity, it will give you a link to our Discord where you can join. So it is not broken anymore. Tell your friends. Invite everyone you can. Come hang out in our Discord. It's a lot of fun. But the link now works, so go hang out with us there.
Cool.
All right. So from there, I don't want to say thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us. And we appreciate you being here for episode 145. We are fastly approaching episode 150, which is a pretty big deal. So look for us thinking of ideas for that episode to make it more awesome than we've had yet. But we'll see what happens. We're at 145, 5 episodes away. 5 weeks from now, we'll be having that 150th celebration. But for now, at the end of this episode, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for hanging out in the Twitch chat, and thank you for everyone that listens to the podcast wherever you can find your podcast. We appreciate every single one of you. Keep playing, keep having fun, and we will see you on the flip side.
Later.